let's be real for a second, because on one side, we have hustle culture. Team, no sleep, laptop in the bed, coffee for breakfast, I'll rest when I'm dead vibes. And the idea that if you just grind harder, do more, sacrifice more, that's when you'll finally be successful. The Alex Hormozis of the world, right? But then on the other side, we have this whole soft girl era. You know, the one where you're sipping your matcha, we light a candle, you look cute, we're staying chill all day, and the millions are just magically flowing into the bank account. I'm going to say it. Neither of those are the answer, because creating real success isn't about what you do. It's actually about who you are. And when you hustle yourself into the ground, you kill your creativity, your energy, and honestly, your joy. But when you swing to the other way and you deny your ambition, when you tell yourself that just vibing is enough, you also block your own results. And I see people swing from side to side on this pendulum. They hustle a little bit too hard and then they think, oh, the answer must be going into my soft girl era, and vice versa. And we just never end on this crazy roller coaster. So in today's episode, we're going to cut through both extremes. I'm going to get to the truth about hustle culture. And I actually want to pull back the curtain on why so many high performers feel stuck even when they're killing it, and how to finally create results without burning yourself down or abandoning yourself. And I'm going to be stripping back the deeper psychology on how we can actually rewire our brains, because this is not a time management issue. This is an internal programming issue. I have lived it. I have had seasons where I worked a little bit too hard, maybe a lot too hard. Every single spare second, I was doing something for my business. I used to wake up and have my laptop waiting for me beside my bed. I would open it up, filled with anxiety, filled with stress about what had been transpiring in the night when I was running my global swimwear brand. I would open the laptop while I was still in bed, and I would put out all the fires that I thought were issues that I had to deal with right then and there, because they could not wait an hour for me to actually get ready for the day. And that's how my day looked, starting with anxiety, starting with work. And before I knew it, every single day, it was 3 p.m. and I was still in my pajamas. I hadn't eaten breakfast because I was so hyper fixated on the work that I had to do, because the to-do list was overflowing. And honestly, it was purely driven by adrenaline, cortisol, anxiousness, and it wasn't serving me at all. On the outside, people were like, wow, Jess, you're everywhere, you're killing it. But on the inside, I was exhausted. I was so resentful of the businesses that I'd built. At the time, I was running 5 at once, and I felt like I was chained to it. There was a moment where I hit rock bottom though, and I was in my office at the time. I was working harder than ever, and it wasn't working. Like the hustle trap, it looked like progress, but it actually wasn't getting me any closer to my goals. I felt like this hamster running on a wheel. And one day my body was in such overdrive. I had hit adrenal fatigue. I had lack of sleep, lack of nutrition because I wasn't eating enough. And I had an anxiety attack. I was so overwhelmed by everything. And in that moment, I paused for the first time ever and asked myself, why? Why? Why am I feeling like I'm stuck on this roller coaster that I cannot get off? Why do I feel like I have to push this hard every single day? Because no one just magically wakes up and says, you know what sounds really, really fun? I'm going to burn myself out for absolutely no reason and no reward. Hustle is an addiction, and it is driven by these deep subconscious patterns that most people are not aware of. It gives you these little dopamine and cortisol hits, the chemicals of stress and reward. And being busy makes your brain feel productive. So for me, when I asked myself this why, it was because I was afraid that someone else would beat me to it. If I wasn't working a million miles an hour, someone else would steal my idea and somehow take away all of my success. Now, the thing is, I was not consciously aware of that because obviously we know that sounds illogical. Obviously, there's enough success to go around. Obviously, we know that. Your subconscious is not logical. So when I could actually pause and ask myself these questions, I realized that that is not my idea of success. I'm not running a race to some imaginary people that don't even exist. And so in that moment, I actually decided that success to me gets to feel like just being grounded and calm. What if I could achieve all my wildest goals and dreams and feel grounded and calm in that moment? And that changed everything for me. So I want to take you through the shadow side of hustle that no one talks about. And it's often rooted in fear of not being enough, or fear that if you slow down, everything will fall apart. Fear that if you don't over-deliver, people won't love you anymore. For so many of us, it actually starts with childhood conditioning. Maybe you were praised for being the hard worker, the good girl. Maybe you learned that love or approval came from achievement. Working harder got recognition, got attention. And then there's the control and perfectionism. Hustle is a way to avoid uncertainty. If you keep pushing harder, maybe you don't have to face the uncomfortable truth that maybe I don't have all the answers yet. Maybe things won't always go my way. There's also fear of stillness. And this is a big one because when you slow down, the thoughts that you've been avoiding bubble up. Like, am I good enough? What if I fail? What if everything falls apart? So you keep moving, you keep busy, you stay productive so we can avoid having to hear those thoughts. And finally, there's the shadow of overfunctioning. High performers often over-deliver, over-give, overwork for everyone else, for their clients, their team, their business. And so we hustle to feel safe, to prove our worth, to feel valuable. Because hustle usually feels more safe than rest. But here's the truth. Hustle is just an ego strategy. It is your mind trying to keep you safe. The real power is asking yourself, what am I afraid that will happen if I actually slow down? That is where the root of your hustle lives. And when you can bring awareness to that, everything shifts. And it's looking within to what is going on up here in your mind that is sometimes the hardest thing of all to see, but it holds all of the keys to unlocking more ease, more flow, and actually more success. Now, on the other extreme, we've got the soft girl energy. And look, I am all for feminine flow. I love a matcha. I can get down for that. But let's get real. Sipping tea and journaling all damn day does not replace showing up in your business. The problem is when we swing so far into that, we actually deny our ambition. We deny the part of us that is hungry for more, that's driven, that actually wants to create. A few years ago, I went on a holiday to Europe for 7 weeks, almost 2 months, and I completely unplugged from my business. I paused on everything, and for the first few weeks, I was like, this is great. I've got freedom, I'm on holiday, I'm enjoying the time with my husband. And after about 3 weeks, this inner discomfort started playing out. It was like this feeling in my stomach of something feels misaligned. And I was battling in my brain because my brain was saying, you're on holiday, enjoy it, like chill out for a minute. But there was another part of me that was saying, ooh, I've had a really fun idea, or, oh my gosh, I have this new ambition or this new drive or something that I'm really, really excited about. But then I felt like, I guess society or my brain was saying, you're not allowed to be ambitious right now because you're on holiday. You're not allowed to work. You're not allowed to act on these ideas because you're on holiday. And after a few more weeks of that, it actually started to build as a level of anxiousness or I guess misalignment internally. And it was one day that I sat down and I was journaling it out on the train that I actually realized that being ambitious, playing in Fantasyland, doing big, incredible, exciting things is not just something that I do in my business, it's who I am at my core. And throughout the past few weeks, I was basically telling myself, you're not allowed to be who you are. You're not allowed to be creative right now. You're not allowed to be ambitious right now. And the reason why it was eating away at me was because that is my identity, a huge part of who I am. And when we don't allow ourselves to be who we are, that's when the misalignment happens. So soft girl energy isn't about not doing the work. True flow is creativity, is receiving, is that magnetism, and actually allowing yourself to have both. But so many people confuse that with sitting back, waiting, hoping, and pretending that you're working towards your goals when you're actually not. So signs you're too far into the soft girl trap, maybe you're telling yourself, the clients are just going to come. I'm just waiting. Maybe you're waiting to feel more motivated before you sell, feel more confident, feel more ready, and you've actually mistaken intuition with avoidance. Every time we do that, it reduces your confidence. Your subconscious is paying attention. Every time you don't do the thing that you say you want, it's clocking it. And when you set your big, dreamy, delulu goals and then you don't take action on any of it, it starts to create the belief that I highly doubt this goal is ever going to be possible because I am not seeing any action, right? And this has so much more impact than just having a bit of freedom and flow. If it starts to impact your confidence, it starts to impact your own self-belief on even thinking that your goals are possible for you. And I see a lot of women get stuck in this and wonder why they feel like nothing is moving. They feel like they have so much self-doubt. It's because they're not taking any action, right? So we need to find the balance between the two. Okay, so let me give you a couple of examples because I see this play out all the time. One of my clients was working herself into the ground, creating new offers every few weeks, posting nonstop, trying to be everywhere and doing everything, but she still felt stuck. She was trying every strategy, but the revenue had plateaued. Her energy was at an all-time low. She felt so exhausted. And honestly, she started to build resentment towards her business. So what we needed to do was come back to basics. We came back to refining her messaging, getting really, really clear on one core offer. She started selling more, working less, and actually enjoying her business for once. And of course, the results flowed. Okay, and then another client went full soft girl. She was spending every day at the beach, meditating, journaling, setting her goals over and over and over every single day, scripting, doing all the things that they say you should, right? You manifest and it just comes. And she was starting to feel really deflated, like, Jess, I'm doing the work. I'm showing up for myself. I'm even writing in my journal every single day, but why don't I have the results? She was starting to, again, resent her business. She was starting to actually doubt, could she even do this? She was almost ready to just give up and go and get a job. But when I asked her, that's fine. If you want to get a job, great. But is that what you really want? It was a pretty damn fast no. So then we looked at, okay, then why are we not getting the results that you want? And it was because she was not actually doing things that move the needle. And each day I would set her some small tasks. And at the first, it felt really difficult. She had a lot of resistance to it, right? Because the comfort zone is in the softness, is in the manifesting, is in the going to the beach. The ease is not doing something outside your comfort zone, like showing up and selling, creating an offer, putting a price to it, having rejection from people who don't want to buy yet, right? And so your brain says, this is unsafe. Let's not. Let's just go to the beach again. Let's watch Sex and the City today. Let's go and watch that instead when we feel better about it, when we feel a bit more motivated, when we feel less resentful, then we'll go and do the selling that Jess has told us. But I gave her some tough love and sometimes we need it. She switched into action and we kept it so simple. The one task, guess what it was? Show up and sell. That's it. She wanted more sales. I said, how about we do this? Spend 1 hour, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, but allow 1 hour every single day to just sell. Whether that's posting on your social media, sending an email out, DMing people back, whatever it is, we're going to sell. one action a day. Within a few weeks, she was already making sales back at much higher prices than she had ever. She started to build more confidence. Obviously then results were flowing, which helps us have more belief that we are actually capable, right? And so shifting out of that soft girl was the key. But I didn't go and tell her to hustle. I didn't go and tell her to set up a 50-step page funnel with 50,000 steps that take 10 weeks to set up, which actually then perpetuate the belief that you cannot achieve success because now you're spending all your days on setting up a crazy funnel and still not seeing results, right? If we want to build more self-trust, we actually just need to do the simple things. Most people are overcomplicating business. So you only need 3 things to build a successful business. 1, an offer to sell. 2, show up and sell the damn offer. And 3, deliver on what you sold. That is it. Everything else is overcomplicated, procrastination disguised as working, and just noise. We make it so complicated because complexity feels safe. Surely it can't be that easy. Building funnels, tweaking graphics, adding 10 more tasks to your to-do list every single day feels like progress. We get the dopamine hit of feeling like we're working towards our goals when we're actually not getting any closer at all. So don't let your brain gaslight you. When you cut all of that back to the basics, that's when you finally create space for real results to flow. Go and check your to-do list right now. How many of those tasks are actually connected to creating your offer, selling it, or delivering it? Everything else can go. I'm dead serious, by the way. Now, most people try and solve the hustle dilemma with better time management. Hustle isn't about time management. It's not about productivity hacks. It is about your identity. So some of the subconscious anchors that I see all of the time that may relate to you is, if I'm not doing more, I'm not enough. If I slow down, I'll fall behind. Clients won't take me seriously unless I'm constantly online. When you believe and live in those beliefs, hustle is always going to feel safer than slowing down, and you'll always feel stuck. So think of hustle like a backpack of rocks. Every limiting belief, fear, shadow is a rock. And scaling isn't about running faster with that backpack. It's about dropping some of the rocks and moving forward lighter, faster, and smarter. So how do we actually shift this? The first thing is awareness. Catch yourself, because I'm going to guess most of the time you don't even realize you're doing it. So let's do this reflective exercise together. Maybe you want to grab a journal, grab a notes app. If you're driving, please do this when you're stopped. But ask yourself, where in my business am I making things harder than they need to be? Where am I hustling to prove myself instead of just creating results? And if I trusted that doing less could actually lead to more, what would I stop doing right now? Write it down. I'm going to put those in the show notes as well so you can find them. But awareness is everything. Secondly, rewrite the old belief. So if your old belief was, if I rest, it might all fall apart. How about you try, my business thrives when I thrive, when I look after myself. Thirdly, we need to integrate your shadow. So we don't want to shame the part of you that hustles. We want to thank it, show it so much love because it was there trying to protect you. And fourthly, embody the new identity, because success does not come from proving you're worthy. It comes from being the person who already knows she is. Energetically, it's day and night. When you're hustling from fear, people feel it. So here's the truth. Hustle isn't the answer, but neither is pretending you can just manifest millions while journaling in your silk pajamas. Hustle is like driving with one foot on the accelerator and one foot on the brake. You're pressing it harder and harder, trying to get to those goals, but you're still not going anywhere. The real shift isn't to slam harder on the accelerator, it's to actually release the brake. So success is simplicity, success is identity, and success is having that aligned energy. And if you only took one thing from this episode, let it be this. Your worth is not measured by how hard you hustle. If you trusted that you were already enough, how would you run your business differently today? Because the truth is, you can create more by doing less, and you can scale without burning out. So if you resonated with any of this, send me a DM. I would love to hear any of those thoughts, any of those narratives that have come up for you. Find me on Instagram at Jess.Williamson8 and share this episode with someone else, a business bestie who needs to hear it. I'll see you next time.